Hi everybody, welcome to the Truly Myrtle podcast. I am Libby. This is my weekly podcast where I talk about all sorts of things really. I talk mostly about knitting, but I also talk a little bit about sewing and then other making things that are going on. I'm based in New Zealand. The sun wants to come. Summer wants to come, and I'm feeling a little bit warm today, so I've got more of a summery top on, but technically it's actually just spring. This is a live video. I go out live on Facebook, my Facebook page over at Truly Myrtle, and I also live stream onto YouTube at the same time. So I'm hoping that you guys can see me in both places. I love this live video because I get a chance to chat with you in the comments. So you can just leave me your comments in the chat and I can see you and I can say hi and you can tell me what you're up to. And that is so good. And I can see people jumping on and it's always really nice to see you. So I thought today I would have a little talk about Wardrobe Toolbox, because Wardrobe Toolbox is my online, it's like an online school, but it's not school. It's an online program where we come to learn how to make sweaters fit us and feel fantastic. We learn the dance of making a sweater. So I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about that today. I talk to you about what happens inside Wardrobe Toolbox, what to expect, what you can get out of it, and some of the things that have just happened recently, so that might just give you a sense of what's going on in there. Let me say hello to everyone that's joining me. Hi Becky, nice to see you. Colder today in Sydney. Well, it's kind of grey here and it probably is colder, but I did a bit of moving around exercise this morning, and so I've made myself, I'm quite warm, so I'm definitely warmer than I normally am. Hi Claire, nice to see you. Good morning. She said we had a gorgeous day yesterday, but overcast and cool today. That sounds a little bit like us, I think, Claire. Hi Barbara, nice to see you. She wore her Paloma, this is Paloma, the top that I'm wearing, on Tuesday over a linen shirt. Oh, that would look rather nice, Barbara. It's a nice way of getting some of those more summery knits out as well and layering them up. I like the sound of that. Hi Joanne, nice to see you. You've got the same weather as me, cool and cloudy on the North Shore. Yeah, I don't know if you're feeling as warm as I am today, or is it just me? Might just be me. Hi Sabrina, lovely to see you. It's another log burner day down there, so lots of Kiwis chatting to me today, so we're still coming just a little bit out of winter. It's always nice to have some sunshine. Hey Jeanette, you're calling in from California, northeastern, and it's windy today. Aha, you've got that windy autumn feeling, a fall feeling. Hi Debs, nice to see you. And Carol said it's cooler and damp here in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales. It's nice knitting weather. And Tamsin from Napier is starting to warm up. Well, it was already quite warm when we were there before, Tamsin, so I bet that it's feeling absolutely lovely. And hi Jessica from Florida. It is so nice to see everybody from all around the world. I do enjoy that and hearing what you're up to. So let me have a little cough. Oh, hi Amanda, how are you? It's been a while since I've managed to catch you live. I know, Amanda, I haven't seen you for ages. Well, not live. The bubba is keeping me on my toes. Oh, she's so cute, though. Overcast and cool today, and you can see fresh snow on the mountains. Oh, my gosh, Amanda. Hi, Ruth. Nice to see you. Oh, Marianne, it's so nice to see you. She said she'd been watching some of my other chats, and I'm really looking forward to Wardrobe Toolbox. Yep, yippee. Oh, that's good. Oh, good, Barbie, doing some special knitting today. I'm glad to hear that, having a day off the garden. Okay, so I thought I'd tell you, I can see you all chatting, and I'm just going to keep half an eye on you. I'll come back and see what you're saying in a second. Hi, Susanna, who's spelt like my sister again. It's nice to see you too. Oh, it's so nice to see you. Okay, the people from everywhere, Canada and the States and Australia and New Zealand. I love it. It's everyone from all over the world. Okay, Wardrobe Toolbox. Should I just start right at the beginning? Wardrobe Toolbox is a program that I developed it launched in early 2020, March 2020, and the idea was, well, I love to make clothes. I love making clothes, and I don't know about you. I think a lot of you do too. I love making clothes for myself. I love putting together outfits. I love playing with clothes. I love dressing up. I love dressing down. I love knitting. I love sewing. I just love everything that's involved with making clothes. And I've been designing knitting patterns for a long time and having this blog, podcast and on my blog and everything. And I just like to talk about everything to do with knitting. And it culminated for me with this desire that I just saw that lots of people were wanting to really figure out how to make garments that fit them. We had a long while there for knitting where we did a lot of shawls. I think around the 2007, 8, 10, around that time, there were a lot of shawls were being knitted. And then people's skills grew. And they also, their confidence grew, and they wanted to start knitting more garments. And that was really happening. And I was sort of all part of that wave with my designing. And I started teaching some classes about how to figure out how to choose a pattern size and make modifications so it fitted your body. Because, that's the main issue that all of us have with clothes, is that, we hear about this, we know the story. You buy off the rack and you just put up with it. You put up with the fit, that you buy something off the rack ready-made, versus having a dressmaker and something couture that fits you and accentuates the best parts of you and makes you feel fantastic. And we can have that world with our knitting and our sewing and our making, and we can make clothes for us that suit us and feel good. So I could see a lot of people were wanting to figure out how to do that. And because I'd done so much deep diving into designing patterns, I felt that, and I'd sewn my whole life, and I just felt that I could learn it anyway. I learned it. I had a real sense of how to adapt patterns and make them fit you. I did, when I go down a deep rabbit hole and learn everything I can about things. It's just how I do it. So I was teaching quite a few years, and then I decided to launch this program called Wardrobe Toolbox. And it's a little bit selfish because, I love making clothes. And so to have my whole life about making clothes really felt like such a treat for me. And it was an opportunity to share my skills with other people. So that launched in 2020. And it's just been going ever since. And we run in seasons. So we run in these 6-month seasons. I like a new beginning. I just am always been a fan of a new beginning. So the idea of having 6 months, new beginning, 6 months, new beginning. I really like that. It doesn't mean that we cover the same content over those every 6 months. We don't. It's new all the time. But just in terms of a season, I like the idea of a season. We all come in together at the beginning of a season. We do it together, and then we take a deep breath, wrap up our knitting, and we start a new season. And so the seasons begin in March and in September. And so the doors open to Wardrobe Toolbox only 2 times a year. In March, the 18th, they open for 10 days. And then again on September the 18th, they open for 10 days. And I do that because I like everyone who's coming in to come in together. I like the idea that we're starting this thing together. We're all a group together, and we work through the next 6 months. Now, if you join, you don't have to stay for the whole 6 months. You can. I'll talk about that in a minute. But you don't have to. You can just bail out for a month. It's not for you. You can just leave. If your circumstances change, you can leave. But you do have the opportunity for joining for the whole season. So that's the way it operates. Doors open, we have fun. Doors open again, we have more fun. And it's been going since March 2020. So we are just about to open the doors for season 10 of Wardrobe Toolbox. And it has been such an extraordinary journey for me, and I think everybody inside. Just the things that we have learned, the friendships that we've made, the experiences that we've had, the knitting that we've tried, and just the way it's grown. It's really fun. So I think it still has that essence of what I wanted in the beginning. We have a very can-do attitude. Yes, you can. I know you can. I'm going to help you out. I just know you can do this. I have that attitude, and we're all here to give you a hand and to sort you out. Nice to see everybody. So that is kind of the background of it, and the doors are due to open again. So what are the kind of things we do inside? Well, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about how to describe it to you, and I don't know, but for me, everything comes back to dancing. I just love dancing. I love music, I love dancing, and I feel like what we're doing inside Wardrobe Toolbox is we're learning the dance of making a sweater or making clothes for ourselves. And it's a complicated dance. You might think of it more like a symphony. There are so many moving parts, but it all flows. It's a real flow, and we step into this way of thinking about clothes and garments and ourselves and our tools and our materials. And from that symphony or that dance, we pull together something that is just fabulous. And that's sort of the way I was thinking about it. So we start in Wardrobe Toolbox, we cover the whole gambit. We go from thinking about who are you and what is your life like in terms of what do you want to wear? What do you do day to day? What kind of life are you living? How mobile are you? And how do you move? And what kind of things do you like to do? And temperamentally, do you like things tight or do you like things loose? Or are you busy a lot? Do you get hot? Layers? We talk about our lives. What is our life? What is our style? What do we really resonate with? What are we totally drawn to? What are we utterly repelled by? And we try and think about our style and what do we want to be making. Because I think so many people, me included, you might see something and you'll think, oh yeah, I totally want that. I absolutely want to make that. And then you look at it again or you make it and you think, what was I thinking? This is so not me. I don't know what I was thinking. Well, what we're thinking is, I think I want a piece of that. I just want a piece of that photo. There's something in that I'm sensing that I want in my life and I'm going to make it. And so we try and eliminate some of that by thinking, okay, we're just going to be a little bit objective. We can be totally romantic about what we want, but let's make it work for us. So we talk about that. And it's even before we begin thinking about what we're going to actually, about how to make it, we think about what are we going to make. The next thing we think about is who are we knitting for? Because primarily 99.9% of what we talk about in Wardrobe Toolbox is knitting. We do have a sewing component, which is totally optional. We do have a lot of people just over the years told me that they sew or they want to sew. And when we're thinking about a wardrobe, that can involve everything from trousers to skirts to camisoles to everything, to nightwear, you name it. We can include everything. So we do have a sewing component and help with sewing for those people who want to do it. But 99.9% of it is knitting. And I don't have any lessons other than about knitting that I give you. So we think about who are we knitting for? And when I say that, I mean what shape and what shape am I? Am I broad in the shoulders and smaller in the bust? Am I fuller in the hips? Have I got longer arms? Have I got a fuller bust and a tiny waist? What shape am I? It doesn't matter what size we are. We try not to get too fixated about size. We do talk about measurements, but we try not to get fixated about that. We're thinking about shape, and we're thinking about accentuating our shape so we feel good. And often that happens when we're creating balance in what we're wearing. And so, if we are fuller in the bust and have no hips and long legs, we might want to create a little bit of balance so that there's something else going on, to create balance with what's happening. More of that hourglass shape is typically what we would have learnt to do. So we think about proportions, horizontal proportions and vertical proportions. We think about accentuating all the things about us that we want to accentuate. So we think about that in terms of shapes, and that can really help us when we're thinking later about modifications, because it sets us off on the right foot. Okay, well, I know that, let's say I am, maybe I'm smaller at the top, smaller through the shoulders and the bust, but actually I have quite a full bottom and my hips are broader. And so I need to think about what am I going to do to make this garment off the rack, the pattern that comes off the rack, fit my shape and work for my shape, accentuate my shape. And we can think about all the details we can add and some of the modifications we can make. So we cover that kind of thing too. Who are you knitting for? We take our measurements, so we know the size that we're knitting for, because that's essential when we're coming to choose a pattern. So then we look at a pattern, and we've chosen the pattern that's going to work for our life, and we've chosen the pattern that might be a little bit part the way to working for our proportions and our shape. And then we're thinking, okay, how do I choose a size? And we take our measurements for that, and we've got lots of things about how to take measurements. And then we choose a size in the pattern that is like a good base for us. It's a base size. It's like a blueprint size for us. And then from that, we can leapfrog off and we can make modifications. But we start by thinking, okay, what kind of size do I need that's going to fit me, especially at the top here? This is where it's important. So we've got that far. We haven't even touched our knitting needles yet. We've just got that far. Then we think about, okay, so I've got the pattern. I know what I'm going to make. I kind of got a sense of what it's going to look like. I might have even thought about colors. I might have thought about the kind of texture I want, because with any good dance or with any good symphony, these things happen all the time. You know, the triangle comes in, or you do a little twirl that way. Everything sort of comes together in a big melting pot when you're creating a really sophisticated dance or a sophisticated symphony. So you might have already thought about some of these things. This is not linear. So we've got our size, and then we're thinking, okay, yarn. That's the next thing. Let's think yarn. Let's think color. Let's think texture. Let's think weight, fabric, putting color combinations together. And there's a lot to think about with yarn. Yarn is a huge topic. How am I going to get the best out of this pattern with the yarn that's available to me? Maybe I want to use something in my stash. Maybe I'm going to splash out and grab something new. But what look am I after, and what yarn do I choose to achieve that? And if I'm thinking about colors that go together, maybe I have a sense of what it is that I want to make, but do these colors work together? There's so many things to think about with yarn. So we talk a lot about yarn. We also talk about gauge, and we talk about knitting gauge, and we talk about both knitting swatching for lots of reasons, to learn about your yarn and to work about colors. And we also talk about swatching to figure out how big your stitches are. So we talk a lot about that. And then we figure out if we like the fabric that we've made. And then from that, we have the size, we have the fabric, and we work out how to put those two things together, even if our gauge doesn't necessarily work bang on. So it's a lot of prep. There's a lot of prep work before you start a garment that actually pays off in the end. And you'll get faster and faster at this. It'll become more intuitive to you. It'll become easier to do as you get going, because it's just, you get familiar. You get that real muscle memory with understanding things and knowing how you work. So sometimes it can be a learning curve in the beginning, and then after a while you really get into the groove of it, and you're sort of Saturday night fever dancing before you know it. So we've got that far. Then we're thinking about modifications, and we're learning about schematics, and we're learning about how to make modifications. And there's a whole host of modifications that you can make, and we talk about those. We talk about different techniques you can use. We talk about different ways to create shaping, lengths, widths, curves, you name it. All of those things are covered with all our modifications. And then we talk about knitting, and we've had we talk about how we're knitting. We've had fabulous masterclasses with people that have talked to us about how to knit comfortably, how to deal with injuries, how to keep knitting for years and years and years, and to make sure we're able to. We talk about the tools that we use and how that can impact us, the chairs that we sit in. There's all sorts of things around the actual knitting process. We talk about who knits when, where do we knit, what kind of tools do we like to use, what makes life easier. There's so many things to talk about with knitting. Why do we do it? How much do we enjoy it? How maybe we could think about it differently, the way we're knitting. There's a whole story that goes around actually knitting. And then when we've got to the end of our as we're going, we also talk about how to fix our mistakes, how to know when you've made a mistake, how to fix your mistake, how to do it with a smile on your face and not tears in your eyes. Don't throw your sweater to the other side of the room. When we fix those mistakes and we make it work. And then when we're finished, we talk about finishing and making things look just beautifully bespoke rather than just sort of knocked up. We talk about all sorts of things to do with finishing, whether it's blocking and ends and little techniques to finish things off, buttons, to everything that we might think of when it comes to finishing our knits. And then we also talk about how we wear stuff. So putting things together, especially things like shawls, or thinking about different ways to wear stuff together. So we almost do that full circle, and we come back to, what is my life and how do I want to wear this? So it's an enormous adventure, Wardrobe Toolbox. There's so much in there that we can cover, and we do cover, and we have covered. It is like a dance. It's a dance. And a symphony, if you want to think about it like that. But there are lots of moving pieces. we become more and more confident about what we're doing, and we learn how to dance our way through the process. And through all of that, the thing that is so heartwarming about it all is there is this wonderful community of women, because they're all women. No men have tried to join us yet. They're all women, and we all love the same thing. We all love this process. We all love aspects of knitting. Some of us don't like the whole process. Some of us like bits of the process and other bits, but we're all there joining in together, cheering each other on. We get it. We understand that knitting is like breathing, that sitting down and picking up your needles at the end of the day is just as essential to you as, taking your next breath. It's just something we have to do. This making thing is something that we just can't not do it. And we all get it, and we are so interested in what you make. We love it. We feel inspired by each other. We feel reassured by each other. It is a really warm and supportive community, the Wardrobe Toolbox community. So we have that sort of wraps it all up around the outside. So that's really the feel of Wardrobe Toolbox. That is what we're about. Now, the mechanics of it and how it all operates, I'll talk to you about that in a minute, because I know there are details that you want to know. But in a nutshell, it wasn't much of a nutshell. That was actually like a whole avocado. But trying to capture what it is that we're doing in there, that it's like it's a dance, and it goes around in a big circle, and it's all, I don't know, there's lots of support around it as well. It's a lovely environment. All right, let me see what you're saying. Oh, there's so many of you. It's so nice to see you. Canada and Melbourne, nice to see you on the Sunshine Coast. Oh my gosh, Mary Ruth, you're watching and waiting for Hurricane Francine. Oh my gosh, I hope you're all right, Mary Ruth. Watching the update, says Jessica. Hey Terry, nice to see you. Oh, you couldn't find me on Facebook. I think I'm there. I see some Facebook comments, but I'm going to work out how to do it so that I can go live before I go live. I was just looking at it before I went live, because there's a way I can do like a countdown. I think that would help us all. So I'm going to try that. I just have to work out how to do it. Barbara says, for me, Wardrobe Toolbox is like being part of a circle of friends, celebrating our knitting successes and supporting the challenges. Taking measurements and discovering my shape has been a game changer for my knitting success. And I know, Barbara, and it's been so wonderful to watch you do that. And Barbara's just recently retired, and it's just been fabulous, hasn't it? So that you're making things and you're like, oh my gosh, light bulb moments. I'm making all this stuff that you feel so proud of. I think you should feel proud too. You're amazing. Ruth said, I didn't even know there was so much choice when it came to yarn before Wardrobe Toolbox. I know, Ruth. It's magic, isn't it? It's absolutely magic. I don't think we look at skeins the same way. We had someone come and join us for a masterclass recently who talked to us about how to read a skein of yarn, and that was, even for me, I just thought, whoa, this is brilliant. I freaking love this. This is so good. Hi Elizabeth, nice to see you from Sydney. Oh, Becky, I know said she was close to abandoning her knitting yesterday, but she worked hard learning a new technique, and I'm glad I did. Now that attitude, that feeling of, you know what? I know I can do this. I can actually do it. I'm going to figure this out because I know I can do it. Help everybody. Help me. I want to do this. Help me do it. That we do that inside Wardrobe Toolbox. We're really, I know you can do stuff. You can. We do it. And the lovely thing about it is we practice lots of things with our knitting that actually make our lives a little bit easier. That, Becky yesterday thinking, oh, sod this. I can't do this. This is just too hard, this thing I'm trying to do. That the feeling of, do you know what? I'm going to jolly well do this. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to figure it out. I can. That attitude, you take that into your life, is magnificent. It really is. It is it's so good for all of us. So good for me to have that sort of stickability and determination and perseverance. Those are things we want to teach our kids, right? We're all learning it as well. Hey Bianca, yeah, knitting is definitely like breathing. I can't think of any other way to describe it, Bianca. It's just the whole creative process it's just part of our being. You can't separate us from the creative process. That's just who we are. Hi, Mary. It's nice to see you. Oh, hi, Marina. It's nice to see you. You're spinning. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, good. And Mary says, I love learning from my other sisters in other countries. Yeah. Oh, that's really good. Oh, Barbara, I'm glad you do feel proud. It's excellent. So we've talked about the kind of the vibe of it. The vibe of it. That's something my kids would say. Oh my gosh. But we've talked about the feel of it and the dance that we take and how we figuring out all the little aspects. And you know what? It's so trite. I feel like it's a trite thing to say, but this is you don't reach the end. I mean, yes, you have successes. We have successes all the time. Tick, I've done that. That's fantastic. I feel proud of myself for that. But there's always new things to learn. And I love that about it because your brain can be on fire. Your brain is like, whoa, this is absolutely extraordinary. There's always something to learn. There's new things. I'm changing. Things around me are changing. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep expanding my skills, expanding my knowledge. And sometimes we hear things and we don't hear them until later. And then we realize we've heard it before, but we didn't hear it. And so we hear it again and again. And sometimes it can take a long time for us to actually, for it to sink in. So we're always learning. The whole thing is like an adventure. We're going on an adventure, a dancing adventure. I couldn't think of anything better. Okay, so how does it all work? I told you already the doors open at the March the 18th and September the 18th. When the doors open, they're open for 10 days. So I think that's a good enough time that you can have a think about it. If you're feeling a little bit on the fence about the whole thing, you can have a think about it over 10 days. And then as long as you're in that 10 days, then I shut the doors and off we go into the new season. We work in months. So I've said we have 6-month seasons. The seasons work month by month. I can wrap things up in terms of a month at a time, and I feel like that's a good amount of time for us to digest. So at the beginning of a month, I send you an email. We have lots of surprises. I like a few surprises. So at the beginning of a month, I'll send you an email. A lot of what we do is on email. We have a website, Wardrobe Toolbox website, it's like a portal for us. All our lessons are there and everything I talk about now is in this website. We also have our own lounge. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I send you an email because that's how I communicate with you mostly. And I say, this month we've got a new lesson, I'll say. Because every month we have a new lesson and I'll teach you something and I'll do sometimes they're little tutorials for things. Other times we're talking about any of those topics I just talked about before. Any of those we cover and we go into details about those. Sometimes I'll just go into something we may have already covered a little bit and I'll go into it a little bit deeper. So every month we have a lesson and it will comprise a handout that you'll be able to keep. It will comprise usually a series of short videos that you can watch, and then you've got those and you can go back and watch them. We also, every second month, will get a new pattern. So this coming season that's coming, we've got October, December, February. We'll get new patterns in those months, and they are all sorts of things. There is always at least one garment in every season. In the last season, I'll show you in a minute, there were 2 garments. I do try and do one of the seasons in a year with 2, and I'm moving it over, I think. Well, I haven't decided, but at the moment it works for me to have it in the early part of the year, but never say never to anything because sometimes I just take myself by surprise. But every second month you get a new season. And a new season. Every month you don't get a new season. Every second month you get a new pattern. So you get the email. I'll say, here's your lesson. And then every second month I'll say, and here is your pattern. And your pattern you can download and you can get working on it. And we'll often run a knit along to go with it. Often I'll try and do a pattern and a lesson. I'll try and have these things that coordinate so that you will do something around the pattern that will help you out with the pattern. So for example, when I put this pattern out, Paloma, I'm pretty sure we did picking up stitches. I think I did it for one of these ones. So we had to pick up a lot of stitches along here. So we talked a lot about picking up stitches. Or another one where I did a cardigan with a different kind of buttonhole. And I'll talk about different buttonholes and a whole range of ways of doing buttonholes and give you some tutorials around that. I've done things about short row shoulders and actually walking you through. See, this is how it's done. And this is why you could take this idea and put it into any pattern. So those things come every month and every second month if it's a pattern. And then I also tell you, this is what's happening this month. We have a calendar that comes out at the beginning of the month. And every month we have a session, a live session, which they're all recorded except our knit night. So every month we'll have a question and answer session or a fit night, and you bring your questions to me and we can talk about them in real time. We get to talk about what's going on with you. You have the opportunity of jumping on the screen. You can send me stuff in advance. I can really help you out with stuff. It can be any pattern you like. It doesn't just have to be any of the patterns we're working on, that we have in Wardrobe Toolbox. Any pattern, any issue around your knitting your garments. So we have a opportunity to ask questions. We also have a masterclass. I love the masterclasses. They are so fun. So I invite at least one guest. Sometimes we have two. At least one guest comes every month and does a masterclass with us. And they are creative people from all over the world. And some of them are knitters, and some of them might be felters or quilters. Or I don't have any quilters, actually. We should do that maybe. Spinners, all sorts of people, dyers and designers and there's just so many, you name it, we've probably had someone around that topic. Yarn producers, farmers, all sorts of things that have come to talk to us about their thing, their specialty. And we have an hour with them. Sometimes they'll give us a presentation and then we get to ask all our questions. And sometimes I'll talk to them and I'll have a conversation with them. And then you always have the opportunity to ask your questions. So we have those sessions also live. They're live videos. Now, the times might not work for you with our live videos. I do vary them, so they're not always on the same day or at the same time. But I'm only awake for a certain period of time. So if I try and do things so that you, no matter where you are, you might get a chance to see them. But I record them all, so you can come back and watch them later. And I send you an email and say, hey, we just had this masterclass, or we just had this question and answer session, or a fit night or something. And here's the recording, and you can find it, and then you can watch that later when it suits you. We also have a knit night, and we do a knit night every single month. And the knit nights are lovely, and they just go on for as long as they need to go on. And so sometimes the knit night's an hour, sometimes the knit night can be 2 hours. I don't record that one. That's the only one I don't record. And I try and have it at a variety of times, but it seems that a lot of people, it's quite good for them to have it at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. That seems to be quite good, my time, because it's sort of afternoon, evening in the States, it's evening in Europe, and it's early morning for some of you in Australia, and it's reasonably early for us. And so I don't always have it at that time. That does seem to be quite a good time for people. So we have our knit night, everyone comes together, and we pretty much go around the circle, and people jump on and they show us what they're working on. They show us their things that they love. They show us something they've made or something they've just bought. And I ask lots of questions, and we can ask questions, and we just have a good old chat. And I always come away from those knit nights thinking, oh my gosh, I need to just do more. I guess there's so many things I want to knit. There's so many things I want to try. It is a lovely opportunity to get everyone together. So we've had things in the past which we will dip into again. We've had refresh sessions. I quite like the refresh sessions, and so we'll go back and I'll walk you through some of our old lessons and videos and things that cover a particular topic that I can see a few people need a little bit of a refresh on, or it might be new to them. So we'll revisit some other material. I can drop those in as well. And then we also have bonus sessions. And our bonus sessions might be just another guest. I know we've got a bonus session in the next month that's coming for the first month of the new season. I've got an extra person coming. And so they either will be someone else that I just can't resist and I need them to come and talk to us because it just seems so much fun. Or they might be someone like our lovely, lovely sewing advisor. And she comes in and talks to us every couple of months. She'll run sew-alongs for us over in the lounge, and then she will come in and she's given us some really, really great sewing sessions. She's a sewing teacher, and she walks us through all sorts of things. And even if you're not a sewer, I think you will find so much of it super, super helpful in your knitting, because one of the sessions, I think the last live session she did with us was measuring your existing garments to work out what sizes you like to wear. is so helpful. Is so helpful for people who then want to do that for their knitting too. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that she will cover. She did a fabulous one about mending, and so she covered some of the mending with the knitting techniques that we've looked at in Wardrobe Toolbox as well. So she will come every now and then and have a chat with us. She usually comes about 2 or 3 times in a season and does a session with us as well. So there's always a lot going on. I will tell you at the beginning of the month, every week there's something going on. You do not have to join in every week. You just join in when it suits you. You catch up when it suits you. It's all there for you. You can dip in, and when you need a particular question answered, you go and search it up and you can find the particular question that you have that you need support with. You can go back and you can look at old patterns and all sorts of things like that. So you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed and I can't keep up. Please don't feel like that. The information, I try not to do it. I've been really thinking about how I give you enough without making you feel overwhelmed, but also making sure that the people that are like, give me more, they get enough stuff. So the idea is you just take what works for you. You leave everything else. You take it when you can. If you are ill for a period or if you're away, just leave it for a bit and then come back later, and you can have like a binge watch session. Or you might say, oh, I just missed that. I'll get to that at some point. I'll come back and get to that later. So yeah, there's always something going on. Every single week there'll be something going on. In the first week, it's usually just a lesson for us, but every now and then I will also have a live video. But usually the first week of the month is a little bit of a lull, just while we have our new lesson and our new pattern, and that's where things can really happen over in our lounge. So we have just built a new lounge for Wardrobe Toolbox. It is our community space where we all get together, and we have a brand new lounge which is off social media, and I am very proud of it. It is a really lovely place. It is a fabulous place for finding things and being part of things. It is attached to our Wardrobe Toolbox website, and it's just ours. Nobody else can see it. It's ours. We are not ruled by likes or algorithms. It is just in order of when people are posting, and you get to be part of things or not part of things as you want. So we have groups in there that you can join, and if you want to see what people are doing with their spinning, you join the spinning group and you will see that. And if you don't want to be interested in spinning, you don't join the spinning group, and then you won't see any spinning stuff from that group. It is a really lovely way of joining in with the community. I feel really pleased that now even people that absolutely loathed Facebook can be part of it, and it's great. It's a really great resource for us. And so sometimes, a lot will happen. Every day there are new things happening over in the lounge. It's just your place to come and relax and ask questions and show off and show us what you're working on, and ask for, what do you think of these colors? I don't know, I've got this idea for the shawl, and I'm thinking it could be this color combination, or it could be this color combination, or this, and I'm thinking of wearing it with this, and everyone's like, oh, I just totally love that one. And then usually, you're going to have to decide, but people will help you out with things. You'll say, I'm really stuck on this particular pattern. It's a pattern I got from a magazine or another designer, and I'm really stuck on this part, or I want to make it. Does anyone else want to make it with me? And that's when everyone can join in together. In the past, we've had swaps, and so we've had yarn swaps, and I'd love to do that again now that I feel like we might be able to do it again. The post might have sort of slightly figured itself out. I don't know. But we've had things, we're swapping skeins of yarn with one another and little treats, and people have made friends across the oceans, and I absolutely loved that. I love it. We have really got to know each other, and you won't feel like you're new. You will come in and you'll feel like, this is where I was always meant to be. I'm part of this place too. This is like my place. You will feel like that. It is a very open and friendly group of women in this lounge, in our lounge. So that's a really fun part of it too. We often have challenges that we run in the lounge, and so we will do things like, all right, everybody, we will do knit-alongs, obviously, and we do sew-alongs for people that want to join in, but we'll also have okay, everybody, should we just finish all the things we've got on our needles at the moment, or why don't we this month, everybody, take photos of things that you're loving to wear and post them in there. I'll have prizes for things. It's just fun. It's a nice little add-on to our whole Wardrobe Toolbox world. If you've got any questions for me, let me know if you have any questions. I'm trying to think if there's anything I haven't told you. Oh, yes. So I've talked to you about how you can join for the whole season, and you can also join monthly. So when you go to sign up, there are two options for you to choose. One is to join just for 1 month at a time. And the price for this season coming, which opens next Wednesday the 18th of September, New Zealand time, open for 10 days. The price will be the same as last time, and it's $38.50 a month. That's New Zealand dollars. I meant to find out what that was in all the other currencies. I'm sorry, completely forgot to do that. And my phone, I left it inside. But I think it's probably, if someone could let me know in the chat maybe, I'm not sure what it is in euros and pounds and US dollars. It's going to be more or less the same in Australian dollars, a little bit less, isn't it? But just let me know in the chat and I can tell everybody. So that's what you'll pay every month. Now, if you want to leave, you can leave at any time. You just say, okay, I need to go. Things have changed for me, and I can't be doing this at the moment. And that's fine when you join month to month. So you just give us some notice, and you just don't come for the next month. That's absolutely fine. You can have the option of joining for a whole season, and a lot of people do that. They join for the whole season because they're in, and they are in, and they know they want to be in. And so they join up for the 6-month season, and you get that at a discount. I can't remember what the price is per month, but it's reduced. So if you work it out over the 6 months, it's a lower price, and then you just pay one price at the beginning of the season, and it'll last you for the whole season. And then at the beginning of the next season, it happens again. So you're in, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. And it might work better for people's budgets if they're thinking, okay, I'm going to, plan ahead for that. So you've got those two options. When you go into the website, you will see there's like a little toggle. It's not open yet. It will be next Wednesday. The cart, the checkout will be open, and I'll give you links and everything to that. But you'll see there's a little toggle at the top of the page, and you can click season or you can click annual, monthly. If you decide to change your mind partway through, you can do that. You can swap. You can swap from monthly to full season. We can't really swap from full season back to monthly, but you can swap from monthly and say, actually, you know what, I want to stay here. This is cool. And then you can swap to the full season, and we just do a pro rata thing and work out the remainder. So that's all easy peasy. What else was I going to say? When you are part of Wardrobe Toolbox, you have access to absolutely everything except the old patterns. You can see the old patterns, but if you want the old patterns, you need to buy those. There are lots of old patterns now. Hang on, what are we? 6, 9's 36. There's more than 36 because some seasons I've done more than one extra. So there's probably going to be about 40 old patterns inside Wardrobe Toolbox when you join. So you can see them. They're offered to you at a good discount. You won't find that discount elsewhere. It's a good for online. It's a good discount. And so you can grab those and then have all the stuff that goes with them once you're inside. That includes patterns that are available to the public already, and that includes patterns that aren't available to the public. Some of you might already have some of the patterns. When you join, you've already bought them, so you don't worry about those. You've already got those. But there will be some in the last year that may not have been released yet, and so a lot that won't have been released yet, and so you have the opportunity to buy those once you're in there. The other thing I wanted to say, which I need to make very, very clear, because people don't seem to hear this, is that when you're in, you're in. And when you're out, you're out. And so this is not a course. We're not buying a course that you keep forever. It's a subscription to a platform, a bit like something like Netflix. It's a membership program so that you are part of the whole program when you're in, but then when you leave, you kiss it goodbye, that it's gone. So you don't have access to all the stuff. Now, of course, while you're in there, you can download all of the handouts, all of the tools. We have special tools that you can use to help you with your knitting and your wardrobe planning. You can download all of the patterns that you want that are yours. Everything you can download. You can keep those all in digital files. You can print them out, do whatever you want. I know some of the Wardrobe Toolboxes who have been there from the beginning have made folders of all the materials. I tell you what, there's about 3 books in there. I must have written about 3 books already. One day I might write a book or 3. But you can have all of that to take away with you. But it isn't a course. This is not a course. I would love to do courses one day. And one day is my dream that I will do courses. And when I do courses, Wardrobe Toolbox, I will give you those courses, and because they will be the same kind of information, and then you can keep those. But we haven't got to that yet. That's not where we're at. I've only got this much time. So when you're in, you're in. When you decide to leave, you're out. Now, once you're in, the price you pay when you join is the price you will pay forever. We grandmother it, we grandfather it, I don't know what it's called, but you have that price forever as long as you're a member. If you decide to leave and then come back later, you'll pay the fresh price that is at the time. There have been exceptions to that over the years when people have had accidents and cancer and things like that, but the rule of thumb is if you're in, you pay that price forever. So even though everything is getting more and more expensive, your price will stay the same. But once you've gone and you want to come back, you'll pay the new price. At the moment, I'm keeping the price the same. Oh, thank you, Jessica's put it in there for me. So it's $38.50 New Zealand, and that is roughly today $24 US a month. That's per month. So it's cheaper if you join for the whole season. She also says it's about 22 euros or 32 Canadian dollars and 35 Australian dollars. Thank you, Jessica. That's wicked. Okay, so it's $38.50 is a New Zealand price. You'll see it's higher. It looks higher than everything else. So it's 24 US, 22 euros, 32 Canadian, and Australian 35. Geez, the Canadian dollar is closer to ours than I thought it was, actually. That's interesting. Anyway, that's per month. If you decide to join for the whole season, you'll get a discount. I mean, it's cheaper to join for the 6 months. There's a discount. That doesn't matter what season you're in. You'll just pay the discount for whatever season you were in. You'll pay that worked out for over the 6 months. So you keep your price the whole time you're a member. What else do I have to tell you? I have some fabulous helpers that help me out in there. So there are people at the end of the email. If you ask questions, there's going to be someone that's going to be there to help you. There's people that help you with your account. There are people that help you with your patterns. There's people that help you in the lounge and all the social stuff that we're doing. We've got a great team of people. And if I've forgotten anything, just let me know in the comments. But that was quite a lot. I've talked for quite a long time. Oh my gosh. Okay, I wanted to show you just quickly, the patterns from last season. That we had. There are new patterns, as I said, every season. I always start the season with a shawl. I just like to start with a shawl. It's a bit low pressure for everybody. I would often give you something a bit fun because it might involve using up some of your scraps. I do quite like you to dive into your stash. I do feel a little passionate about that, about stash diving. I do like it. I'd also buy things new so that you can use new yarn, but we talk about yarn substitution a lot, and I like to think that some of you have some pretty healthy stashes, and it would be nice for you to use some of that stash. I know exactly what that's like. So this was the first shawl for last season. She is called Anna's Dance. You know how I love dancing. I love dancing. So this is Anna's Dance, and she was just a lovely little... just a slight, sort of one of those sort of slight shawls. She used one skein for the body, this beautiful pinky colour for the body. She's got this lovely texture all over her, all over the body. And then we used scraps. We used little minis, mini of the minis even, for the beautiful border that I put on the bottom, which I love. I love it. I love the peaks. We talked about blocking and pulling things out. I can't remember what lesson we did with this one, actually. I feel like I should remember. I can't remember what lesson we did. But anyway, this is Anna's Dance. So she is one of the shawls that's in there now. She is striking. Some of the shawls that people have made are just gorgeous. She's a lovely little light layer. Yes, Amanda says, I loved that I could use a whole bunch of leftovers and minis. Me too. In fact, we did one the beginning of so it was March 2023 was Dreamweaver, and she was similar. She used lots and lots of minis. The one that you're getting in October, totally different, so wildly different shawl, wildly different, but I hope you're going to like it. I think you'll like her. She's pretty striking. Okay, so she was the first pattern. This is my shawl that I started the season with. Then I gave you Ginger Bliss. Now this one is available already to the public. This one isn't. This one is already available to the public. The Wardrobe Toolbox members had it for a couple of weeks, I think, before I gave it to everybody else. And she uses that fabulous construction with the shoulders from the back. We talked about shoulders in another lesson, actually, those couture shoulders. And so Ginger Bliss is just that lovely little addition to the Ginger range. And so everybody got that. She's a sport weight cardigan, and she actually used the Truly Myrtle wool. But like I said, we talk about yarn substitution a lot. So you can create, this is a beautiful base cardigan. She's a beautiful blueprint for a cardigan, great shape for you. And you can use her for other, we talk about how to change her up and turn her into other things. So she's a great example of that. Beautiful weight, easy to wear. So Ginger Bliss was the second pattern that came out last season. And then the third pattern that came out last season, I had two versions of this one. So the first was this. This is Rita. Actually just got a message from someone this morning saying she wanted to buy her, but this one is not available yet until next year. So 2025, it'll be next year. Anyway, she also uses that fabulous shoulder. She's made with chunky yarn. She whips up in a flash. This one I used Manos. She's got a split hem and you can see I've been wearing her quite a bit. She needs a little bit of some of the pills pulled off. I used a Corridale from Manos, DL Uruguay. I don't know, I can't say that correctly, but Manos in Uruguay. I used some of their beautiful Corridale. So she's a round. The color is just absolutely knockout. I love this color. I loved wearing a little slip over this winter. I found her so useful, just taking me into some of this warmer weather with a little skinny rib top underneath. So she was one version of the pattern. And the other version was this one. Sometimes I get into colour schemes. Do you think we kind of match that season? Maybe. These ones certainly do, don't they? They certainly do. And so I made a second version, and I held three. See, she's got the little back. This one is cropped. It's a little cropped version. I have thrashed this top. I love it. Rita made with 3 balls of yarn. Held 3 different types of yarn held together out of my stash. This is a total stash dive. So I used a DK, a fingering, and a mohair, all held together. And our lesson that went with this one was about figuring out, when we're starting to really combine yarns together, how do we know how much yarn, like what have I just made with all these yarns together before I even start gauge swatching? How do I know what I've made? And so that was our lesson for this. And just managing when we're holding yarns together and what to expect, what is going to happen when you hold yarns together. So that was quite a fun lesson. And I wore this when I was at Cannes, and I wore her over, I've got this little blue and white sort of sailor stripe top, and I wore her over that skinny rib top and my high-waisted long navy skirt that I made last year that went with that top. Actually, that was another one that's Pickle's not out yet. She's our only seamed one we've had so far. I made it for that outfit, but I wore her over that, and so it's cropped with this high-waisted skirt, long skirt. And lots of people were like, oh my gosh, I think I really want to make that one. So I saw lots of Ritas when I was away. So those were the patterns from last season. And so those will all be in there waiting for you. And any that aren't already available to the public, you can grab. We've also got ones from the season before. So the season before started with Kuri, and our Kuri will come out end of this year. That's the tartan shawl that we did. That was a fun one, just to learn how to do all the tartan on that with the buttons. And then the next one in that series was, what was the next one? Alex, was it? No, I had one in December. It was Pickle. I just said it was Pickle, a little top that we had that summer. And then for New Zealand summer, I'm actually going to do something slightly different this year, but that was December. And then in February we had Alex, which was that fabulous jersey I've got with the V-neck at the front and the kind of slight balloon arms. So those are all still in there that you can't buy anywhere else. So I think that might be all of it. Is that all of it? I've gone for nearly an hour. I could talk about Wardrobe Toolbox until I'm blue in the face. I live and breathe Wardrobe Toolbox. That's pretty much what I do. It is what I do. And I myself have learned so much. I have learned so much. I've learned also I just didn't even know how much I could learn. It's amazing. It's been such a fantastic experience. Amanda said, I did mine in Dreamfire organic merino sport with short sleeves, and it still needs buttons, which I have, but I wear it all the time as an in-between layer. And I'm imagining that's what you're going to, for the Ginger Bliss with the cardi. I love a short sleeve cardi. I think we're going to have some more of those. Oh, thank you, Vanda. She loves my Anna's dance. Yeah, it's beautiful. Lovely colour. It's good. And Amanda loves her Alex with her mods. Yeah, because Amanda made modifications to her Alex so that it was a breastfeeding top. It is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, her Alex jumper. Okay, everybody. I hope I've answered a lot of your questions. I hope I've given you a sense of what happens in there and some of the mechanics of it. The doors open next Wednesday, so I will see you next Thursday for the podcast, and I'll remind you that the doors are open. And if you have any questions, you can just throw them at me and I will answer them. But I'll remind you that it's open then too. They're open for 10 days, so they open on the 18th and they close on the 28th. And then after that, you're in. If you join, you're in. We're in and we're off. And the new season will start on the 7th of October and away we go for the next 6 months. What was I going to say? I was just going to say something else to you about it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. You can find out in a couple of different ways. You can either join my mini mag, and you can do that by going to trulymyrtle.com/mini mag. Join my mini mag and I will tell you all about all of this. I will give you all the links that you need and things. So I'm just getting all those set up now so that you can hear about it when the doors open, and I'll remind you that they're open and whatnot. So you can do that with my mini mag. A lot of you, thousands of you, have joined the waiting list for Wardrobe Toolbox, and you can do that at wardrobetoolbox.com. There is a sign up page. You just put your email in and then I can email you there too. But either way, you'll hear about when the doors open. I'll remind you, I'll give you links and everything that you need so that you can come and jump in. I'm not going to give you any hints about what the new pattern is. And we're going to have an absolute surprise. It's going to be really fun. For those of you who do join Wardrobe Toolbox this season that come in next week, you will be able to join the lounge from the beginning. So if you join next Wednesday, you'll be in the lounge Wednesday night. Don't you worry. You'll be in there and going. You won't have access to the Wardrobe Toolbox website where all the material is until the 7th of October with the new season, but you will be in the lounge. So you can come and chat and get started and have a little, play around in there from the date you join. You will also be able to come to our knit night, our end of season knit night that we'll be having in September. I think it is a Saturday morning. I'm pretty sure it's a Saturday morning right at the end of September. Might be the first few days of October. So you'll be able to come to the knit night too if you like. And once you're in, you'll start getting emails from me and I'll tell you about things that are happening. But it's really, really fun. It's really fun. It's a very good thing. And the thing I hear most, the comment that I hear the very most is, I didn't know I could do that. That's what I hear the most. Wow, I didn't know I could do that. That's cool. I love that. Or words like that. But I didn't know I could do that. So that is just fantastic. All right, everybody. I will see you same time, same place next week for another chat. And in the meantime, just make sure you're on my mini mag list over there at either at wardrobetoolbox.com. You can join it there, but you might want to join my mini mag. So you can hear from me, trulymyrtle.com/mini mag. Go and sign up. There'll be a link below this video wherever the replay is, so you can sign up there. And I will see you same time, same place next week. Do lots of knitting. Have a good time. If there's a hurricane coming to you, I hope you are doing okay. Hi from Ontario, Canada. Nice to see you. And I will see you soon. Bye, everybody. See you later.